Stir your cauldron well, chant your words and sing your spell.
Good morning, Broom Riders! Welcome back to the Purple Broom Apothecary. I have not done a video here on YouTube in quite some time. I know that my podcast, The Purple Mystic, has been published on the YouTube channel, but not all episodes show up here on YouTube. For some reason, I always have to kind of reset it, and so some of the episodes are not on there. So if you have been following along, but just on YouTube, you might want to go to your favorite podcast download site and check it out. I am on Apple, I am on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. I am pending on Pandora. I'm on Google Podcasts. So you can find The Purple Mystic, a podcast for the modern witch, anywhere on any of those. So please go and check it out. But they do upload here for the most part. There's just a few episodes that are not on there. So it's been a wild, crazy couple of years, hasn't it? I do apologize for not having put up some content in a really, really long time, but things have been up and down. 2020, 2021 was no better than 2020. So I'm sure many of you kind of know what it is. I've literally been working 9 in the morning to 7 at night, seeing patients, coming home after that for my speech practice and doing all the documentation. I'm in the process of looking to get some new clients because I wanted to go back and complete my PhD program. I was 3 classes away and found that the program has changed since I last enrolled, and so I would have to start all over. So all 5 years that I put into that program, I lost. But as it turns out, one of the top tier 1 research facilities near my home has opened up a program, a PhD program in communication sciences and disorders. My prior PhD was in child development. So I have applied to that program and am looking to go into that. So that will be going on later on this fall. Plus, I've been doing the Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine in order to earn my registered herbalist certification from the American Herbalist Guild. So there's been a lot going on. It's been taking up my time and not allowing me to have time to put in quality content. However, I saw one of Owlvine Green's videos today, and I love her videos. It's always very uplifting. So when I got the notification, I was like, ooh, Owlvine has new videos. So I went to check it out, and it was a tag video, which I love tags. They're so much fun, and I love to see what everybody else does with the tags and everybody's responses, because it just, one, I think it contributes to our sense of community. It makes us feel more like a community because we can see our similarities and our differences, but it also kind of opens my mind to new ways of thinking or seeing things when somebody has a different response than I do. So I thought today I would grab my second favorite brew, tea, and I would go ahead and pop in here for a little tea and witchy talk. So I'm going to do the tag. I have put the questions in the description bar down below and a link to Owlvine's video if you want to go and check that out. So that is there. I am going to try to pull up the questions. I had saved them, but I'm having technical difficulty. Hang on one second and let me pull it up. Now, the first question in this tag is New Year's resolutions. Do you believe in them? And question 2 is why or why not? So I'm going to address those together. And my short answer is no, I don't. My long answer is I feel that New Year's resolutions, well, for one thing, I'm a very goal-oriented person. I have my little planner from Benabel here, and, you know, I have my to-do list on there daily. Well, mostly daily. If I go back to a prior day, then you kind of see all of my to-dos over here. And I like to set goals for myself. I may have a broad goal for that year, but I don't consider it a New Year's resolution. And the reason being is I think that there's a mindset that goes along with New Year's resolutions that automatically presumes you're not going to reach it. You know, it's kind of the standing joke that, oh yeah, that was your New Year's resolution, and by February it's gone. So I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. I believe in establishing goals for yourself and then helping to come up with smaller steps to reach those goals. So I may say, okay, my goal this year is to lose 60 pounds. That's been my goal for the last 3 years. And I've had difficulty meeting it, even though I have done the smaller steps to get there. Seems to be something in my genetics, I guess. But then I will set smaller goals for myself. And on my daily goal, I'll put, okay, I want to do 100 crunches today. And I will actually physically write that down, because goals that you write down, you're more likely to meet. And then as I do that item, I will check it off on my to-do list. That is how I incorporated meditation as a daily practice for myself. In some form or other, I will take, even if it's just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, to check out and to meditate on a day-to-day basis. I did that until that became habitual for me by putting it on my to-do list. So I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, but I do believe in having goals for yourself, even a larger goal, or what we call in the speech pathology field, a long-term goal. And then you have short-term goals that help you reach that long-term goal. And so that's more what I think of in terms of New Year's resolutions. I do think you need goals and intentions. Now, the third question is, what is your favorite color? I think everybody who knows me knows, just by the name of my channel, purple is my favorite color, has always been my favorite color since I was a child. And it has a very significant meaning for me, which is question number 4. Does your favorite color hold magical or emotional meaning for you? Yes. Now, I do want to say that while I love all shades of purple, and I really love color in general, especially bright, vibrant colors, as you can see by my house, the bright orange and the mustard yellow, the lighting in here does not do it justice, but this orange over here is like a sunset orange, and this is a very mustardy yellow around me. My whole house is shades of orange and, yeah, except for a couple of rooms that are like a light green, like a mint green, and then my bedroom is red. So that's going to change because I'm kind of over that now. But in any case, I do love vibrant colors, and I think color is very key for us. Our eyes are designed to be able to distinguish colors, where in other animals it is not. So it obviously has meaning for us as a human species. And while I love all shades of purple, there is a particular purple that is my favorite, and it's a very deep, dark, rich shade of purple. And I don't really have anything here that's a good example. So anyway, but it does have a very deep emotional meaning for me. When I see something purple, I immediately get excited. When I am around purple or wearing purple, I feel more empowered. Purple is considered a royal color, so it's a power color. It was something that was worn by royalty and only royalty for a long time, and it's not that I think of myself as royal, but it's that symbol of power that empowers me to feel confident in moving forward and making decisions and doing things. And so for me, it's very psychologically linked. So the answer is yes. It has very magical and emotional meaning for me. I'm very careful, and I don't use purple candles very often in my practice unless I'm using it for a specific purpose. And it's usually something related to achieving a goal that I need, or helping someone else achieve a goal that they need. So, yes. Question number 5. Do you use substances for divination or meditation, such as flying, oils, herbs, or alcohol? The answer is yes, I do. I make flying ointment using as close to an original recipe to something that might have been used as I can. It is something that I use sparingly. I don't use it all the time or every day, but when I do, I slather that stuff on. I don't use illegal substances. Here in Texas, things such as cannabis and things like that are not legal. Peyote does grow here in the state, but it's protected. It can be sold here. For a lot of people think that peyote is illegal to sell in Texas, and it's not, but you have to have a license. Peyote is a succulent, a cactus, and so it grows in the southern part of Texas. It's not something I've ever used. I have never used substances like that, but I do use other herbs like mugwort and sometimes rosemary. I'm very big into aromatherapy. I believe that our olfactory sense is one of the first senses that develops in the womb. So it connects to us on a very deep psychological and psychic level. And so I will use fragrance very much, usually herbal fragrances like patchouli. Patchouli is what I use a lot in divination, or to connect to masculine energies for working with the Lord and Lady, the God and Goddess. And I will use rosemary and things like that. I use dragon's blood. It's a scent that I really like, but I'm kind of straying away from that lately because I know that the dragon's blood tree, the tree that they get that sap from, is being depleted. So I try to be conscious, and I try to use sustainable things. But my flying ointment that I sell in my shop and that I utilize myself, I do use for both meditation and divination. I use mugwort more for divination than I do for meditation, but meditation, my daily meditation practices, I don't use anything at all, usually. So it's more divinatory or meditation for a purpose, if that makes sense. I like them because I feel that they enhance the messages that are received, or my experience within the astral plane when doing divination or meditation. And I find that it can sometimes clarify things. But the flip side of that is it can also make things kind of nebulous. Sometimes weird messages come through, especially if I use it. Sometimes I will use a flying ointment when I sleep at night, when I want to do some divination within my dream state. I am an ovate in the order of bards, ovates, and druids, and we do a lot of inner temple work, as it's known. In other practices, we call it something different. We call it the inner grove, but it's pretty much the same thing. We do a lot of inward astral type of workings, and so I will utilize that. And I'm sorry, my little dachshund has a toy here and the bigger dog is trying to get it. You can see Honey waddling over there. She has decided to opt for a piece of paper from the trash. Pinto, stop. So I do use them, not all the time. And I do use them because I feel they can enhance your divinatory or meditation practices. All right, number 7. What is the favorite part of your practice? My favorite part of my practice. That's a tough one to answer. Because to me, my practice has become so ingrained in who I am. I do things now almost, I don't want to say subconsciously, but it's become part of who I am. I think that's probably the favorite part of my practice, is that it has become truly integrated into my life, that it is a part of who I am. I don't hide it. I don't tout it necessarily. I don't go out there, hi, I have a magical practice, but I don't hide it either. And this actually came up in my speech practice recently. I was asked to serve as a clinical supervisor site for the Baylor University, which is a Baptist-based university. And the student that I was supervising, I had actually offered her a job prior to her coming to work with me as a student. And she was so excited and all of this stuff. And then, she was made aware of my office because I keep my two businesses separate and I keep my practice separate, but they're housed in the same building. And my husband had made a comment to her, well, that's Natalie's office. Nobody goes in there. She kind of uses that for her other business. And the girl was looking kind of confused and curious. So he's like, well, if you're going to work for us, you might as well know. So he kind of added me to her, which I didn't truly appreciate because frankly, whatever, but I'm not ashamed of it. So I kind of said, well, okay. But she later on, when the clinical setting did not work out because I actually put her to work and she didn't want to work for her clinical hours, she went back to the university and gave them the excuse that it was my spiritual practices that upset her. Now, she could have at any point expressed that, and I would have said, hey, I get you. It's not for everybody. Let's find you another clinical site. But she did not do that. It was a whole big hullabaloo. There's more to it than that. But anyway, the fact that I was able to stand out to the university, because they asked me about it and they said, normally we don't get involved, but this came up and I said, yes, I am a magical practitioner. I'm a member of the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids. This is what I do. My other practice consists of this. Students normally aren't even allowed into that space. She was shown that space because she had accepted a position with me, and then tried to backtrack it with the university. because as it turns out, that's something that's against the rules, and I did not know that at the time because I hadn't gotten any handbooks or anything like that, but she knew. So, anywho, the fact that my practice is very integrated and that it gives me the confidence to be who I am without having to hide it, I think is one of my favorite things about my practice. My least favorite part of my practice is that I don't always feel like I have the time to devote to the spell work and the craft work that I would like to do. Not that I don't ever, do spellcraft. I do, but I always feel like I don't have the time to really put into it what I want to put into it because my other business takes up so much of my time. And frankly, it's paying my bills. So my bills, if you go by Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you're going to make sure your basic needs are met before you do anything else. And my basic needs are having a house, food, and a vehicle with which to work and running my practice so I can keep my assistants employed. So that kind of takes up a lot of my time. And I see patients basically from about 9 in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening most days. Today I had a break because one of my clients canceled, which gave me the opportunity to do this video. And I think that that's really my least favorite part of my practice is not being able to have the actual time that I would like to have to devote to working on my practice and doing more within my practice that's not feeling rushed or pushed. Now, how do I feel my practice has grown over time? That's also kind of a tricky question because I feel like we're always growing. We're ever learning. I don't think you ever know everything. And so if your practice doesn't evolve over time, I kind of think there must be something wrong with it. And me personally, for my practice, I'm not saying that if your practice has been the same for the last 50 years, you don't know what you're doing. So please don't misconstrue that. What I'm saying is that in some subtle ways, our practice will always change. We will add things. We'll do away with things that no longer serve us. And so we're always moving our practice forward in life. And I feel like that kind of makes us who we are as a growth. We grow as witches, and with growth comes change. So for me personally, my practice has changed a lot as I've become far more, less of the, how would I put this? And I don't want to come off, less of the showy, gotta have all the tools, gotta have all of the high stylistic ritual. Ritual is a very important part of my practice, but it's more because it's now a way for me to connect. I mean, it was always a way to connect. It was always a way to tap into certain energies, but for me, it's deeper now. And I think that that's one of the ways in which my practice has changed, is it doesn't feel so like I'm trying to do something. I'm just doing something. And I also feel that my practice has changed in that I am now focused more on developing my personal relationship, not just with deity, but with the earth itself and with the land around me. And so part of that has involved my learning more about the indigenous peoples that had the land here, lived on this land, occupied this land, honored this land before me, and utilizing that and connecting with my own ancestors and my own spirit guides in order to better connect with the land here that I now occupy, and recognizing and honoring the fact that it was once occupied by other peoples who had practices that honored the land, and incorporating some of that into my own practice in their honor. And so I really feel that that has grown my practice a great deal. Now, is there a show or movie that inspires you? Actually, there's several. I think that film and theater are ways in which the human experience is expressed and conveyed. and shared. I think what makes us like a show or connect to a show or a movie is the fact that there's something in that we relate to ourselves, whether it's something we've wanted to do, or it's a way we felt, or it's conveying an experience that we had ourselves, and we like to have that. And so that brings us into the shared experience of humanity, so to speak. So movies that have inspired me, trying to think of a movie itself. It's more a show, and it's shows that I relate to, or that connect me to others. For example, if you're familiar with Ricky Gervais, he has a show called Derek, and I believe it was only on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you might want to check it out. You will need boxes of tissues for that show. And he has another show out also, I believe, on Netflix or Hulu, something like that. That is, I can't think of the name of it now. But basically, he plays a widower. And those two shows have really inspired me to take a better stance for myself on how I approach people who are dealing with, one, special needs, because I work with the special needs community, and Derek is just a beautiful portrayal of that. He is a brilliant freaking actor. Not just a comedian. I mean, his drama is wow. And Derek's kind of funny, but it's not your ha 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 kind of funny like The Office was. It's something completely different. And this other show that he does is just so poignant that it inspires me to really want to work. And in fact, it was something that inspired a particular aspect of my ovate work that I'm not allowed to talk about. But it has definitely inspired me to take head on something that most people are very uncomfortable with, and that would be the themes of death, grief, and suicide. So his wife did not die by suicide, by the way, but if you see the show, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So those are two. So Derek and whatever the other one is, I wish I could think of the name of it. If I can find it again, think of the name of it, I'll put it down in the description bar. But Derek was the name of the first show. Do I have a familiar? No, I really don't. I have pets that I adore, like my little munchkin you just saw. That's Pinto. And then the honey and the dude. But I don't really have a familiar. I've never had any kind of an animal that I have connected with on a soul level that I felt would classify as a familiar. In the astral, I have an astral familiar, if that makes any sense to anybody, and it is a raven. So, but I don't really have a familiar in the physical sense of the term. Would you recommend any YouTube channels? Ooh, there are several. Owlvine Green, from whom I get this tag. That would be a great one. I also love what used to be called the Four Queens, but now it's just AnnMaddox. She is fantastic, inspirational, phenomenal, knowledgeable. Oh, wow. For those of you that are old school YouTubers, the Lady Grave Dancer, I know she stepped back from YouTube for a while, but I think she's back on now. She has a lot going on in her life, some of it not so great. So if she's taken a step back, that could be why. But she is absolutely a phenomenal and inspirational witch. She is funny. She is witty. She lives her practice, and I think that shows in her videos. Plus, I love the fact that she has always been one to kind of stay above the, quote unquote witch wars that were going on in like 2015, 2016, 2017. There was a lot of drama swirling in the YouTube world, and Tequila, Lady Grave Dancer, always was above that. She never really addressed it. She stayed to her topics. She inspires people daily. I mean, she's got ridiculous amounts of followers because she has such a positive energy and she really puts it out there. My cousin, Sunshine Morning Ray, I love her, and I really wish she would make a return to YouTube. I know a lot of people do, but if you know her, she also has so much going on right now that, don't even think that's a thought for her. But if you can go back and view her old videos, she's very informative, very knowledgeable. Again, she practices what she preaches, so to speak. She lives the life, and it comes out in her videos as well. And she's just got that fun laugh, and she's just such an inspiring personality, and I adore her deeply. So those would be a couple. Joey Morris, she's very good, especially if you are following somewhat of a Celtic path. She connects very well with a lot of the goddess energies and conveys a lot of that. She's also very well researched and very knowledgeable. She's fun and kind of quirky and goofy, and so it makes her very enjoyable to watch, and she's just an absolute inspiration. Little Cosmic Crow, she's a lot of fun too. She's relatively new to the YouTube world, but she's lots and lots of fun. And then there's some of the old school people like Lady Rhea and Alexander Cabot, High Priest. He is of the Cabot Kent Hermetic Temple out of Salem, and I really love to watch his channel because he puts up, interviews. He does a podcast every other Saturday with Eddie Massey, who is also phenomenal. I don't know if Eddie has a YouTube channel or not, but I know that This Old Witch, which is their podcast, that has a YouTube channel. So you might check it out because they've done some great interviews with a lot of very prominent leaders within the witchy community, and I find that very inspiring too. Now, number 13 is name something you must do daily for your mental, emotional well-being or for your practice. And for me, that hands down is meditation. Meditation has saved my life, and it has probably saved my husband's life too, because otherwise this girl would end up on an episode of Snapped. Yeah. We'll just say that there. Okay, number 14. What is something that started as an obstacle, which you can now see as a blessing? That is nearly every obstacle in my life. I am the kind of person that believes that for every problem, there is a solution. For me, the continuing issue is time. Time is always my worst obstacle because I never have enough of it. I think if there were 48 hours in the day, it wouldn't be enough for me to accomplish everything that I need and or wish to do. I never have enough time with my children. I never have enough time for my practice to get caught up on paperwork. I never have enough time for supervision. I never have enough time for my personal practice. I have to eke out what I can where I can, and I have this many friends in terms of people I hang out with outside of work because, like I said, I'm typically seeing patients from 9 till 7, Monday through Friday. Then I have to come home, do all the documentation. By the time I get through that, there's still more documentation. And so Saturday, like this past Saturday, I spent the entire day at my office and still didn't get done everything I needed to get done. Sunday, I have to have a day to detox and veg. So I usually do absolutely nothing but read. That's when I get my studying done for my Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine and all of that stuff. And Juliet Blankenspore is awesome. She's another channel. I think the Chestnut School has a channel on YouTube. Very inspiring. But despite the fact that time continues to be an obstacle, I find it inspiring and relieving and empowering when I can overcome that obstacle and eke out even 3 minutes to read through one of the verse or to go back through my journal and review some of my bardic thoughts and to write a poem or to give honor to something. When I can eat that kind of time out, like doing this video, it makes me feel like I'm in control of my time. And that time is no longer that obstacle for me. So that further empowers me to continue to set goals and keep going. So that would be one obstacle. Question number 15. Which do you prefer? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok? I do utilize all of those primarily for my spiritual business, for the Purple Broom. I like Facebook for the fact that I can keep in touch with people who live quite some distance from me, maybe in different time zones and things like that. I get to see pictures, I get to view things, but I also find it a huge distraction. I find all social media a huge distraction and sometimes a time waster. So if I find myself getting caught up in that, I try not to. Instagram, I never really got. My TikTok cross posts to my Instagram, which cross posts to my Facebook. So basically, I do a daily post on TikTok that goes to my Instagram, to my Facebook, and then I kind of am out of it. Facebook's the one I tend to go to the most simply because, like I said, I use their messenger and it's a way for me to keep tabs with my friends and family that live distance away from me and to share things that I experience. But I don't know that I prefer any one of them over any of the others. I liked YouTube for many, many years because YouTube, you can learn a lot of things on. When I needed to learn how to do a California patch and repair a hole in a wall, YouTube was the go-to. I think YouTube, in terms of the witchy community, gives us a larger ability to connect, but not as much as it used to, because now you can post videos on Facebook, you can post videos on Instagram. So my problem with TikTok is that the videos tend to be very short, and my problem with all of them is that you tend to get these little like memes that kind of put this, fantastic, sensational kind of thought out there that may or may not be really well thought out or accurate. And a lot of people take that and then they run with it and it becomes viral and it's really not accurate or it's inflammatory in some way. So I kind of take everything on social media with a grain of salt. YouTube, I think, gives you a better opportunity because you can do longer videos like this to sit down and really share who you are. And I think it gives people a better idea. So if I had to pick just one, I guess it would be YouTube. Although it's not one I get to utilize as often as I used to. All right, number 16, what do you feel is missing from our witchy community? Well, since the onset of COVID, I think it's actually being able to get together with one another and really engage on an energetic level. Because, although I think you can pick up a lot of somebody's energy through videos like YouTube, you get the body language, you get the facial expression, you get all of that stuff that goes along with that. I think that there's a huge difference between connecting in a technical way or in a virtual way than there is to actually being with people. And I don't mean just getting together for a coven style ritual or a working of some type, because I'm not part of a coven, but I do like to get with other witches and do workings because I think that having that additional energy can boost your working. And there's just something to be said for being able to get together with a group of like-minded people and share your experiences and laugh and pass things and hug one another, and that direct transfer of energy that we've been kept from in this, COVID world that's just making me insane. It drains me. I need that kind of connection. And although I've never really gotten a lot of, get together, the fact that we really can't get together just makes it that much worse. So I think that's what's really missing, is the ability to do meet and greets and get together and really just spend good quality time with like-minded witches and sharing our experiences and our practices and just being friends. And building community. That, to me, I think is what's really missing from the community right now. Number 17, how much space do you use for supplies and spell work? Lordy, you should see my office. It's an entire room, probably about this size. Then on this wall over here, it's floor-to-ceiling bookshelves full of books with witchy stuff. I've got some of my Gwerse. I've got tarot cards. I've got cleansing agents like sage bundles and rosemary. I have incense. It's everywhere. It's so ingrained in my life. It's all over my house. It's all over my office. But to actually physically do a ritual, I do them in my garage because it's a concrete floor. I don't have to worry about, if the candle falls, it's going to land on the carpet and, torch my house. So I don't need a lot of space to do a working. I can do a working right here in this itty bitty space. But my entire office is my sacred space. It is where I'm happy to be, and it's where I like to go. It's where I go to reflect, to work, to, set aside distractions and actually focus on what I need to do most of the time. So I don't need a lot of space. I can do a spell walking down the street in my car. I can do it here, right here. I don't even need a lot of tools anymore. It's become so ingrained in who I am. I like them because they enhance my practice and I find them helpful and useful, timing and all of that. But I do have a cabinet full of herbs, but part of those herbs are for my apothecary, not just for my witchy practice. So I have a lot of stuff. It takes up a lot of space. I like stuff. I'm like a collector. How many altars do I have in my home? Okay, wow. You know, I would say if I had to state it, there's like one shelf that I guess could serve as an altar. I have a breakdown wooden table that slots together that I use for what I consider grand rituals. So like Sabbat rituals or larger workings that I'm doing that I can set up in my garage. Healing workings and things like that when I'm really putting a lot of focus into it. I want it to be stylized and ritualistic and all of that, then I'll do that. So I guess that would be a number 2 altar. My main altars are in my office and I have 3. I have one set up specifically for the Morrigan, who is the goddess with whom I align myself. And then I have one for Kernunos, which is the god I align myself with. Then I have one for Ganesh, which is really kind of set up surrogately on behalf of my husband. And there's a whole story behind that. And I think I may have talked about it in one of my videos recently, but basically Ganesh began to appear to me and I felt hesitant to work with him because of all the social, cultural appropriation thing. But after consulting with some friends of mine who are from India, basically I was told he's a god. He's above all of that. If he's talking to you, there's a reason. And I fully in my heart believe that he is the reason my husband has the job he has now in social work, because he'd been trying to get his foot in the door for about 7 years since he'd earned his license, couldn't get in there. So I have one to him. So my answer is I don't have that many here at my house. Most of my altars are at my office, and I have 3 formal altars, and then I have a working space. I have a working space here in my home. My kitchen I use as a working space, and I'll cleanse that and consecrate it so it becomes an altar. I have one that's here that's in honor to my deities in general, and then my temporary altar. I have like 6 or 7. Okay, number 18. No, sorry, number 19. What is your favorite Sabbat? All of them. I appreciate all of them for their own reasons, but my absolute favorites are Yule and Yule, Samhain, and Beltane, or Beltane. Yule to me, Christmas time, when I was growing up, I was raised Christian, and it was always a special time for me. I'm absolutely a winter person. I love winter. I love the cold. Living in Texas, the summers are very hard for me. And I love fall is my favorite time of the year, but winter is very close nearby because it gives me room to breathe and invigorates me. The heat drains me. But Yule specifically was like the one time, Christmas was the one time my family could get together and actually get along. And be kind to one another. And we always got together, and it was always us with our, my cousins and all of my cousins. And it was a wonderful community family time. So for me, that's always held a special space. And that is still my favorite Sabbath. Although Halloween was always my second favorite because we would dress up and it was spooky and dark. And I've always loved that kind of thing. There's always been a draw to me to Samhain. So, both of those kind of rank equal. Beltane for me is a wonderful time because it celebrates all that makes us who we are as humans. And so those are my favorite Sabbats. I really love to celebrate them. I take special time with each of those Sabbats. Whereas for some of my Sabbats, I may not do a full ritual because I might not have the time. Again, that obstacle. But I always do something for each one of them, even if it's something small. But those 3 I will specifically take special time for. All right, number 19, and I realize it's already kind of like 11:18 and I have to be somewhere at 11:30, so I'm going to try to zip through these next ones. All right, number 19 was, what is your favorite Sabbat? Number 20, do you prefer tarot, runes, oracle deck, or pendulum? It depends. It depends on what I'm doing and why. When I do my Akashic record readings and clearings, I use a pendulum because the pendulum helps me to focus my investigation or what I'm looking for very precisely. And so I will utilize pendulum for my protocol. I'm certified in the soul realignment program, which is a very particular protocol for reading and clearing the Akashic records. She utilizes a pendulum for that, and I really like that. If I am looking for something that is lost, I will use a pendulum for the same reason. It's very precise. Your yes, no, and it's very much there. You get very little interpretation. Oracle cards are also great when you want to know BS, no nebulousness to it, no interpretation. You want a direct answer. Oracle cards are very good for that. I have not worked a lot with runes since I was a kid. I learned runes, but it was primarily a system of communicating with my other friend who knew runes and taught them to me. So we would write notes to each other in runes so nobody could interpret what we were saying. I like runes, and I do use them sometimes in my sigil work, but it's not something I really have used for divination. As an OBOD, I use the Oham as part of my divinatory system, and I really enjoy using it because, again, it's very precise. You get your draw, and while there's some interpretation depending on how you draw them out, it's there. I love tarot. I read tarot, do almost daily work with tarot, because it was the first system of divination that I learned. But these are not the only systems of divination I use. I love scrying. Fire scrying and crystal scrying are probably used as much as I do tarot reading or Oham. So, you know, it depends on my purpose, my intent for what I'm doing as to which one of those I prefer. Number 21, are you out of the broom closet? Yes, I don't hide who I am. I mean, I don't go out there going, hi, everybody, I'm a witch, you know, but I do have this cute little hat, which I don't have it with me, that is a witch hat. I wear it year round. And I even had somebody the other day go, is that a witch hat? That's a cute hat. Is that a witch hat? And I'm like, yes, it is. It's one of those, you know, the little ones that are like crocheted. My husband got me one for Yule. It has a beautiful little silver band with a little moon and star on the back of it. And I love it. I don't hide who I am. I don't necessarily announce it, but I don't hide it. People know who I am. My neighbors know who I am, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. And I'm not worried about repercussions because it is who I am. So I will stand up and I will be who I am. And there you go. Number 22, who am I going to tag in this video? I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. So I say, you know, for one, I would love to see Tequila do this one. Tequila, if you're watching and you see this, if you have time amongst everything else that's going on, it would be great to see your answers to this. And I would love to see Little Cosmic Crow do this one. I know sometimes Kellyanne does tags, but I don't know if she'll do it. Some of my other people would be like Nathan. I would love to see Nathan do this one. So let's put it out there and let's see who else gives us some working here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you so very much, and have a wonderful, beautiful, and blessed day. Blessed be.